For some reason, the camera's not plugged in. At some point, and then it stopped working. Hold on. That's weird. So you guys can't see me at all. No broadcast or anything. You can see me on YouTube. It doesn't seem like it because the light's not on. Man. Aha. All right. We're figuring it out. We're gonna fix this because I don't like that it's not working. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Did it short circuit or something? Yeah. On TikTok, of course, you can see me because my phone is working. It's this stupid, this thing. My webcam that decided to magically stop working. It was working a millisecond ago, I promise. Uh-oh, Rorge. I think something happened to the cord for this. That's unfortunate. Yeah, because it's not on. Oh, you see me on YouTube? Like, actually can see me? The live is up. Camera's not working. Okay. How's the audio at the very least? So I can see if I can fix that. Oh. That's this. Yeah, the actual camera is gone for some strange reason. But I'm frozen. Alright, bet. Damn, I don't know how that happened. Like, 1 minute it was working perfectly fine, and then the next minute the light just went completely out. You guys, if it's not one thing, it's another with this stuff. Alright, so I got the camera up. Let's see, maybe it's a different... Nope. To the cord. You can watch both. You can, apparently, since my webcam is fucked up, we're gonna have to do this shit on YouTube or on TikTok, unfortunately. Have I turned it on and off again? I tried. Oh, I thought I just saw something. I saw a blip. It's like it wants to work. But it just can't. For some strange reason. I don't know why. And I don't think I have any other cord that'll make that it's like powerful enough to have it work. You know? Alright, I'm gonna give this like 2 more minutes of give a fuck, and then if it doesn't work after that, then fuck it, you know? We'll just do it old school. Call it a day. Chalk it up to, you know, lifing. Oh. Well, it's not through, it's not through a, what do you call it? A browser. It's through my OBS. Yeah, that's because it's on my other camera. Like, it's on my, yeah, you can see me because it's on that's my laptop camera. I guess I can use this instead. Hi, can you see me? Can you guys see me? All right, I'm here, and I'm here. I'm not gonna talk to this. I'm gonna talk to these guys. You know what I'm saying? I can't see YouTube, for some strange reason. like the YouTube chat and all the other stuff. Like, it doesn't pop up for me as much as I want it to be. Yeah. I can see my cam on OBS, but that's because it's my laptop camera. It's not my, what do you call it? Yeah, it's not my actual webcam. Yeah, you guys need to go over to the YouTube channel, yo. Where It Counts podcast. Go to the YouTube channel, because that's where we're gonna be doing this shit, yo. You know. And for those of you who are on YouTube, I'm gonna, like, for some strange reason, it won't let me even pull up the chat room. Right? So I can't see anything unless I actually go on YouTube to do it, you know? Which is kind of weird. I'm going to do that, but because I have to see how weird I look. Ay. Fucking technology, bro. It's never how you want it to be. It's always something else, you know? Always something else. And I don't know why my fucking... I'll have to find, like, a cord from a webcam. Oh, yeah. We got time. We're going to take our time today. You know what I'm saying? We kind of have to. Because, you know, technical difficulties and whatnot. But we'll get there. We will get there. I promise you that. We're going to start at 3:30. How about that? We're going to start at 3:30. I'm pulling up my shit. Okay, yeah. I don't know why it's doing that. You know, it's a little weird. But hey guys. Hey. Okay. So, like, there you guys are. For those of you who don't know, right? Here, how can I do this? Because I want everyone to look at me, you know? So we're just going to do it like this. Hold on. Move that out of the way. Move this out of the way. Bam. Now I have both of you. Okay. Hey. Look, I am surrounded by books. It's 9:30 p.m. here. Wait, where are you? In Korea? Where are you? For it to be 9:30 p.m. That's crazy. You know? Boop. Sweden. Nice. That's what's up. All right, well, okay, this setup can work. Like, we can do something with this. I will figure something out with the webcam or whatever the fuck. But now I can see both myself. I can see the chat room. I can see you guys. So no matter where you are, welcome to my book club. Okay? This is the book. Oop, it helps if it's not upside down. We're going to be jumping into Vulture Capitalism by Grace Blakely. And Bestie, hey friend, how are you? We're getting ready to jump into chapter 7. Amazing chapter. Can't wait to check this out with you guys, you know? So some ground rules for those of you who don't know, who've never been to the book club, don't know what I'm talking about or anything like that. One day I decided that I wanted to just read, but I'm addicted to TikTok. So I decided to make TikTok work for me. And we started this book club. And over the years, it's grown to be an amazing community of people that want to sit and learn. All are welcome, right? So it doesn't matter if you're a liberal, a conservative, MAGA supporter, whatever the fuck. You guys are welcome to be here because we are here to learn. We're not, hey, Raven. We're not here to argue down, debate, none of that shit. We are here to digest the information. Obviously, there is going to be a political bias because I am an anti-capitalist, first and foremost. So there's going to be that bias, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, everybody is really chill. This is a really chill community. We're not trying to make waves. Thank you, fam. I appreciate it. Yeah, we're not trying to make waves. We're not trying to stress nobody out. We're trying to just enjoy each other's company on a Saturday afternoon. It is very gray for me. So this is nice and cozy. So some information that you guys need. If you guys have not joined the Patreon, I highly recommend you guys joining the Patreon. Okay, link is in the where. But if you're looking, it's Where It Counts podcast. That's the Patreon and shit. Everything there is free. All right, so you don't have to like subscribe or anything like that to gain any access to any of the information that's going to be at the Patreon. It's just a better place for us to like convene, especially given the fact that TikTok be doing weird shit and YouTube be doing weird shit. Some of the great things and the cool, hey, Happy Ball's up in the house. What's up, Happy Ball? That's that's OG right there. One of the great things about the Patreon is that like the additional things that I like to do that I want to do without impediment is there. So I also have like a little reaction series that I'm starting. And you guys, I know that you've been waiting for that. Those of you who care about it, all right? Those of you who actually want to watch me react to TV shows, I know that you're waiting. Don't worry. I hired an editor. So we're going to be knocking that stuff out. Thank you. This is actually the old studio. This is the old studio when I had like my podcast and shit. But yeah, I actually, hired an editor. We're making cool things. That's going to be on the Patreon for free. It is a Patreon exclusive thing, so you're not going to see that kind of content any other place but in the Patreon. All right. If you do happen to pop up in the Patreon, yeah, man, I couldn't react. Like, I wanted to do a reaction to Arcane, but I'm such a fan. I can't do it. I just had to like watch it. But yeah, one of the great things about the Patreon is you don't have to subscribe to get any of the content. You just have to be there. And our community, what we try to do with our Patreon, because it's not mine, right? As of right now, the proceeds that we, are able to garner in the Patreon is going to be donated either to a organization, a mutual aid that we as a community want to help out for that month, or to one of our fellow members who might need some help or anything like that. We are here to create a community where we help each other. And that's the whole point of the Patreon, right? Hey, Scotsman, I haven't seen you in a minute, man. That's the whole point of the Patreon, right? So right now, we only made $17 a month. We just made $17 this month. So, that could go towards making sure somebody had a meal today. You know what I'm saying? But that's what that Patreon is for. And hopefully it can grow and get bigger and more people join in and more people, subscribe or start donating to the Patreon. And that way we can actually make a difference and like help distribute some of our resources in a way that's helpful, right? Outside of that, the Patreon is a great way for everyone to the actual like diehard book clubbers to like reconvene with each other. That's a place where you guys can like freely discuss things with no weird moderation between YouTube or TikTok. It is our space exclusively. You guys can set things up. Yeah, $17 is nothing. That's not nothing. That's a decent, mid-tier meal, right? Or 2 shots at Chili's. So I'm not poo-pooing it at all, But yeah, the Patreon is a place for the book clubbers to reconvene, to talk amongst yourselves and all that stuff. So you're not waiting on me to create a space. That space is there for you guys, okay? And it's there for me to like share my other creative endeavors. So again, if you want to check out the Patreon, it is Where It Counts podcast on Patreon, right? On YouTube as well, if you guys want to check out the YouTube channel, because I'm live streaming on there as we speak. We got a couple people there watching on YouTube. Highly recommend you guys check that out, because if and when TikTok dies, that's where the fuck we're going to be reconvening. Yeah. Slatty Puss Slime. Slatty Puss Slime, we are in the middle of having a book club, right? So I'm not going to address you. You are welcome to stay here and join us for this book that we are getting ready to read. and you can engage with this content. If you don't want to do that, you are free to remove yourself from the live. You don't have to be here. You know what I'm saying? Just know that if you continue to try to take away from the goal of the book club, you're going to be removed and just blocked. All right? So, like, if you have any manner of decorum and, I don't know, house training, I would suggest you just remove yourself, you know, because you don't want to be a part of the community. But if you don't, then, like, just let me know. Just let me know whether or not you want to actually engage with what we're doing here. And that's cool. If you don't want to do that, give me the heads up and I'll just go ahead and block you. And then we don't have to deal with it. What do you say? What do you say? You know? Slatty puss slime. Are you going to be here in the community, or are you going to be here to distract the community? I'll give you a second to figure out which one you want to do. Anyways, so yeah. A few ground rules for the book club before I start reading. Number one, this is a space for everyone. Thank you, Hammy. This space is important. This space is sacred. This space is a place for us to actually be able to enjoy literature and read. Okay? First and foremost. This is not a place to antagonize. This is not a place to argue. This is not a place to debate. All right? This is a sacred space. And we as a community protect this space. All right? We don't have a lot of cool places like this. There's a lot of bickering and moaning when we get on TikTok live and shit. There are very few spaces where we can do this. So, with that being said, if you disrespect this space, you will be removed. All right? I have moderators here, and I give them full permission to use their privileges with extreme prejudice. If it feels a little bit off, they can get rid of you. All right? If I feel like it's a little bit off, I'm going to tell them to get rid of you. All right? It's a zero tolerance type of game. Do not stress us out. We all trying to chill here. All right? If you want to come in with the rah-rah, you're just going to be taken out. I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to ask you anything. I'm not going to fucking explain nothing. This is your warning here. And if whoever comes in later misses that, it's not my problem. All right? So please, respect our space. Okay? Everyone is welcome here. And in order for everyone to be welcome here, we all have to be respectful of each other. All right? That's important. And I don't want to get disrespectful. So, that's rule number one. Rule number two, all right? Though I am going to be reading aloud, all right? You guys are welcome to join me, especially on TikTok. If you want to read along, go for it. But I'm going to be reading aloud in this book. That being said, if you feel like there's a word that you need a definition for, I'm happy you're here too, fam. If you feel like there's a word you need a definition for or anything like that, I know I be coming across words that don't make no fucking sense to me. If you guys have that, then let's go ahead and get those definitions. Let's go sound words out. This is as much of a digesting the heavy information here as it is working through learning how to read phonically. Okay? So this is what that is. All right? That's what I'm demonstrating here because I'm reading this shit out loud. But you guys are encouraged to like engage and add to whatever tidbit. All right? Normally we have roughly about like 20 people at a given time in this book club. That means that there is at least 150 years of experience and lived stories and all that stuff. So I highly encourage you guys to engage with the chat, both on TikTok and on YouTube. If you find something interesting, if you have an idea, if you have a point, by all means, share that shit. This is us doing this together. It's not just you guys watching me read to you. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Eddie up in this piece. Yo, what's up, fam? Yeah, it's not just me reading to you guys. It's us engaging and learning this shit together. Okay? Oh, man. Well, no. We're not. We're midway through, Hans. So we're starting chapter 7 today. So we're midway through. Okay? So yeah, be respectful. Please engage and join us and all that good shit. And secondly, when it's time for a break, I will take a break, you know, if you guys just like hearing my voice. And by the way, those of you on YouTube, or on TikTok, you might want to hop to the YouTube because I have this special little mic here with the headphones and all this other shit. The audio For those of you who are watching, hey, what's up, Coco? For those of you who are watching on YouTube, let me know if the audio is good. Hey, Alex, let me know. The audio will be exponentially better on YouTube. I'm just letting you know that right now. But if you just want to sit down and just have something in the background, hell yeah. If you want to sit down and have something in the background to listen to, just go ahead, pop that YouTube channel on there. You know what I'm saying? Link is in the bio. If you want to join on YouTube, subscribe on YouTube. That's awesome too. But yeah, come through however you want to do this. All right. Have your refreshments. I have my refreshments, which I'm gonna partake in before we start reading. You know what I'm saying? Gotta make sure that I gotta be ready to read. You know what I'm saying? Bet. I never want like the quality of everything to be like good on one, not good on the other. I'm gonna have to figure out how to work through whatever the fuck the webcam is doing, and all that good shit. But that's another thing. On YouTube, I can I can smoke and drink without getting in trouble. Yeah. The camera, we gonna fix that. I obviously need to go to Best Buy to do something about that. I definitely need to go to Best Buy. But yeah. We're gonna be hanging out. All right. So with all that being said, I think we've covered everything, right? Yeah, I don't know what the fuck that was. That sounded ominous. All right, so we covered everything. We covered all the ground rules. Everybody is following. Hey, Raven's up in the fucking YouTube chat. I know that's motherfucking right. Happy goddamn Black History Month, Jerry. Fuck yeah. Blackity black. Black. Fuck yeah, you guys. But yeah, so for those of you who don't know, we're going to be diving into Vulture Capitalism by Grace Blakely. That's what we're reading. We're going to be starting chapter 7, which is titled, oh shit, mute the media up in this bitch. What's up, fam? Come on through. Come spend some time with us. We're about to read how capitalism fucks us over. It's awesome. It's great. You know what I'm saying? So far, for those of you who've missed a lot, because we're pretty much halfway through this book, we have gone over so many terrible things that have been structured. Right now, we're going to learn how private sector plans in the economy, right? We're kind of trained, or the book posits that we are conditioned to believe that there is a separate type of, hey, Robin, what's up? You're in my book club. Oh my God. Book talk people. Fuck yeah. Okay. But yeah, we've been conditioned to see capitalism as like something wholly separate. There's a private sector and a public sector, and rarely do they intermingle. What we are learning here with the evidence that this book has been presenting to us is that it's so mingled and so merged that it's kind of like you can't tell the difference between the two, right? So the real question is, who gets to have the ability to plan for society, and who does that planning benefit? That's what we're trying to learn and see. We have figured out how Boeing has calculated murdering hundreds of people with their shitty planes. We have talked about very rich, Chinese businessmen who have lost billions of dollars, enough money that's entire GDPs of a shit ton of countries. We've even gone over the 2008 crisis and how that was created, sponsored, fundraised for, and bankrolled, from start to finish, and that relationship between the government and the private sector. So we've gone over a lot of stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. Coco says reading this book at this moment in history is wild. It truly is. We read the Boeing section a couple of months prior to all the birds falling out of the sky. And as we dove into it more and more, it just got worse. We just got more and more bad information. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, what we're going to be reading or diving into in chapter 7 is how exactly do the powerful plan? How do empires plan? Okay, so again, we're on chapter 7 of Vulture Capitalism Corporate Crimes, Backdoor Bailouts, and the Death of Freedom by Grace Blakely. YouTube channel is Where It Counts Pod, or just Where It Counts. That's the YouTube channel. And I'm live right now, fam. The kid live right now. I mean, you know what? V. Cooper, I'm sorry. I don't have my glasses on, so that looks like Coco to me. Oh, okay. Well, if you're fine being Coco. Look, y'all were flirting with me the last book club. Okay? Y'all were flirting and doing all kinds of cutesy shit the last book club. All right? Keep doing it because I like that shit. Keep doing it because I like that shit. I dare you to flirt with me again. See, if you're on YouTube, you can hear how my voice changes. You can hear that shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. All right, great. You little minxes. I gotta read, okay? Look, y'all do not, look, I'm letting y'all know this right now, just to preface this shit. I have been eating somebody's daughter out of house and home for the past, 36 hours. I am about that life. So if there is ever a time for you to hear some wild shit, go ahead and flirt in this chat if you want to. Go ahead and flirt in this chat if you want to. This will turn into a whole different type of book club, okay? Fuck with it, Fuck with it. I'm grown as shit. And and this shit is public. The whole world will know that y'all are little saucy little things, okay? Don't play with me. Anyways, all right, I'm gonna start reading. Are you guys ready? Do you guys have everything that you need? Do you have your yeah, do it for the people. Do it for the vine. Ooh, Jess, it's Jess's birthday, everybody. We gotta say happy birthday to Jess. Happy birthday. Lord, we are reading Vulture Capitalism by Grace Blakely. All right. Does everybody have their refreshments? Does everybody have everything that they need? Are we all ready to dive into chapter 7? Give me some thumbs up. Give me a hell yeah, whatever the fuck. Just let me know. And we will jump right into it. And I'll also keep in mind the delay. Alrighty. Let's get into it. So, chapter 7. Money at 6%. How empires plan. The United States claims never to have had an empire, but it did. U.S. colonialism has just been written out of history. The U.S. colonized the Philippines, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and Guam, among others. Most of these were small territories that were ultimately incorporated into the United States itself with differing levels of autonomy. Which, by the way, shout out to those of you who've been riding on the book club this whole entire time. One of our first and only books that we finished reading from start to finish was How to Hide an Empire by Daniel Immerwahr. Right now I'm trying to look to see if I can find it. It's probably someplace the fuck else. But if you guys want to read up on how the United States has created this empire and hid this empire, highly recommend you guys checking that book out. Yeah, and boy, did we have a traumatic time. It was awesome, but also very fucking traumatic, man. A lot of history facts that will really bring a party down. I'll tell you that much. Okay, so continuing on. Occupation of the Philippines, a country of over 100 million people, was a more typical colonial endeavor. The United States ruled over the country for more than 40 years between 1899 and the Second World War. By the end of 1945, 135 million people lived under U.S. jurisdiction outside the mainland. Yes. Welcome, Alcazar. Are you Jorge or are you George? Either way, welcome to the motherfucking live, man. And if you guys feel free to share this, because we need to grow our community. The more, the merrier, in all honesty. Come hang out with us on a Saturday. So, over 135 million people living under U.S. rule that aren't part of the continental U.S. That's fucking wild. Laura, we do our book club every Saturday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Oftentimes I am late because I be doing shit, you know what I'm saying? So we're starting a little bit later than usual, but it's usually 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. On here, TikTok, and on YouTube, Where It Counts. That's the YouTube channel name. So either way you want to hang out, you can. And also, side note, if you guys miss a book club, which is totally fine, you know, everybody got their shit that they're doing. If you go onto the Patreon, all of our previous book clubs will be posted on Patreon pretty much within the next 4 hours of it airing. You can also find previous book club sessions. Hey, Banks, what's up, fam? You can also find previous book club sessions on my YouTube channel as well. So don't worry. You're not going to miss out on anything. The only thing is that if we say something funny, we're not going to hear you laugh, you know? So it is what it is. But if you want to hang out and all this other shit and, you know, do that, you can. We'll have that provided for you. Okay, so as the Spanish Empire broke apart over the course of the final decades of the 19th century, the United States was there to pick up the pieces. Filipino independence leaders initially believed the U.S. had come to liberate them and had already issued an independence declaration by the time the U.S. troops arrived. That was fucked up, by the way. Like, this is happening during the Spanish-American War, when really it was like the Filipino-Puerto Rican Spanish War. The Philippines did the majority of the work, the majority of the fighting and dying, and the United States came at the tail end of that shit, thanks to fucking Teddy Roosevelt. He came in at the tail end of that bullshit, fake as fuck, and had a fake battle with Spain so that Spain can relinquish control of the Philippines, not to the Filipinos who were fighting for independence, but to the United States that came in at the back end. And then the United States proceeded to cause a famine. a little side genocide. You know what I'm saying? You know. So yeah, how that totally fucked up history. Anyways, so yeah. Filipino independence leaders initially believed the U.S. had come to liberate them and had already issued an independence declaration by the time the troops arrived. In fact, the U.S. and Spain had brokered a secret deal at the end of their war to pursue a peaceful handover of power, with the U.S. paying $20 million for the territory after a peace treaty was signed in Paris. Don't they always do that shit? They be doing all these treaties and shit well away from the countries that they're about to fucking destroy. Wild shit. The Spanish Governor General reportedly stated that he was, quote, willing to surrender to white people, but never to the native population. When independence forces met those of the U.S. in Manila, thousands of Filipinos were killed. The United States had succeeded in turning the Philippine War of Independence into the Philippine-American War. Yeah. Fucked up. Yeah, either under the cloak of darkness, yeah, or with great... We're witnessing that right now, right? You know, with the United States doing what they're doing in Gaza and in Palestine. And then, you know, Trump saying the quiet part out loud about how we're going to be owning Gaza. That is imperialistic definition. Clear cut. U.S. rule over the Philippines was long and brutal. After defeating Spain, the U.S. immediately set about slaughtering what remained of the Philippine independence movement. Whole towns were razed to the ground in the drive to, quote-unquote, pacify the U.S.'s newest colony. U.S. troops, well practiced in the art of racism, abused the local population. Rebellious town people were herded into reconcentration camps, where they could be more easily monitored. The military captured and tortured those suspected of harboring nationalist sympathies. Over the course of the pacification campaign, As many as 750,000 Filipinos died, many from diseases that had been transported by American troops, which spread particularly quickly among malnourished Filipinos living in the close quarters in U.S. camps. One of the most striking features of the U.S. occupation of the Philippines was, quote, how rarely it was even discussed. Crazy shit. I think most people don't know that the Philippines was once U.S. territory, which is why we have so many Filipino American people here and so many immigrants from the Philippines here. A lot of them came to the United States not as immigrants, but as residents of the United States automatically because they were living in the Philippines, So I think a lot of people miss that, which is kind of interesting considering the anti-immigration kind of fervor that people have. Some of the quote-unquote immigrants that people want to get rid of were U.S. citizens before they were immigrants, Hey, Ross, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, so I think we need to keep that in mind. Not all immigrants coming into this country snuck in. Some of them were forced to be U.S. citizens, and now we're trying to force them to no longer be U.S. citizens. It's wild work. Wild work. Yeah, so many nurses in the U.S. Are here. Yeah. There was a lot of Filipino nurses are here because of a U.S. program that siphoned a brain drain of, medical professionals from the Philippines into the United States. So I think that's a piece of understanding about the relationship between these immigrant communities and what they do and how they service the social contract within the United States. I think it's also important for us to understand that we have a social contract here that is non-consensual. We're all forced to fucking sign that bitch at birth. Yeah. Okay, so continuing on. Sorry. The greatest challenge for the United States government, as with all the territories it colonized, was determining how millions of black and brown people could be incorporated into an allegedly democratic citizenry without upsetting the balance of power within the United States itself. In the Philippines, the answer to this question seemed simple enough. The U.S. had conquered the Philippines, and it would rule over the local population as it had the people of Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, and the U.S. Virgin Islands, who remain disenfranchised to this day. Again, all of these places are places where they're either U.S. citizens upon birth, like in Puerto Rico, or they are U.S. residents, I believe, just like in American Samoa. And this is why we have a lot of people from these places that are overrepresented in like our military, for instance. A lot of them join the military and serve for the country. There was one problem with this tactic. The U.S. claimed to be a democratic and anti-imperialist nation. It had spent much of the other early 20th century encouraging other empires to grant independence to their colonies. U.S. anti-imperialism was, of course, entirely self-interested and mostly directed towards other states. After all, how could U.S. corporations dominate the rest of the world if whole swaths of it were guarded by imperial powers? But the Philippines still presented some stubborn problems for America's self-image. It had to be controlled without appearing to be dominated. American rule had to be planned without the appearance of planning. In 1916, Congress passed the Jones Act, promising the Philippines independence whenever the country achieved a quote-unquote stable government. Precisely what this phrase meant had been elaborated by General Leonard Wood, former Governor General of the Philippines and military governor of Cuba. He remarked, quote, When people ask me what I mean by stable government, I tell them money at 6%. This anecdote should give an idea of the U.S.'s true aims in the Philippines. Rather than an unruly and potentially socialistic independent government capable of realizing economic as well as political sovereignty, the U.S. wanted to create an obedient and willing recipient of U.S. investment. Now we're kind of traversing into this relationship between the U.S. government and private sector, right? And I hope we note that this is something that happens all throughout the Western Hemisphere, especially in Latin America. The U.S. government, Ross. Okay, so let's dive into this shit. Yikes. After the Second World War, during which the Philippines experienced brutal treatment at the hands of the Japanese, the U.S. finally agreed to hand over power to a quote-unquote stable government. This government just so happened to be one that allowed the U.S. to establish military bases across the newly independent country, as well as granting unlimited access to U.S. corporations seeking to exploit its natural resources. The idea was to, quote, attain a degree of control over Philippine economic life unprecedented even during the colonial period. The CIA effectively ran the country after independence, engineering election victories for pro-Washington candidates. This is something that we see happening consistently in the U.S. and with, you know, all these different fucking places in the U.S. Hold on a second. I gotta put you TikTokers on the phone charger, you know. You guys are so needy. So damn needy, you guys. Jesus Christ. Hopefully this works. I don't know if it will. Bam, doesn't look like it. Maybe if I do this. Nope. Alright, we're gonna have to find a way to... You know what? I'm just gonna hold you guys like this. Is that okay? Can I hold you guys? Can I hold you while I read until I figure out how to... Yeah. Actually, we'll probably take like a little break in a minute so that I can like... Yeah, you need power. Alright. Look, I don't want to like put you guys into the camera either. Alright, cool. My bad. Yeah. I'm always gentle, happy ball. You have no idea. I'm hella gentle. Yeah. I'm cradling you guys in my hand. Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel safe? Yeah. Yeah, I got you. Daddy's got you. I'll never let you go. All right. Let me stop. Let me get my shit together. Okay. Cool. So yeah, the CIA effectively ran the country after independence, engineering election victories for pro-Washington candidates. The infamous crushing of the left-wing, oh God, I'm gonna fuck that up, Huck Balahap Rebellion in 1954, involving the use of napalm and psychological warfare based on stories of a fictitious vampire, is counted as a major victory for the CIA. Wild work. Let's see. I did say that. I told you guys. And the CIA's involvement didn't stop there. One U.S. historian later discovered that Langley had taken to writing the president's speeches and drugging his opponents. They drugging people's opponents? Wild. Holy the fuck. CIA secret agent Edward Lansdale, an early expert in psychological warfare, a skill he used to great effect in both the Philippines and Vietnam, reportedly physically beat one candidate when he failed to comply. Okay. This is where we are. We torturing motherfuckers and shit. Now we're figuring out how the meat is made. This is how the meat is made. I hope you guys know. Much to the delight of the United States, which had supported his campaign, Ferdinand Marcos was elected president in 1965. By the time of the election, Marcos was already a controversial figure in Filipino politics. His father, Mariano, had been drawn and quartered, his dead body left hanging in a tree. Damn. This was done by guerrillas for alleged collaboration with the Japanese during the occupation. Well, that makes sense. There it is. I was trying to figure out, damn, that's drawn and quartered, dragged through the streets, hung up on a tree. That's you feel strongly about something. Because that's excessive, you guys. Jesus Christ. That's a lot. But, Japan was... Yeah, it does sound USian. Japan was on one. Japan was on a lot of fuck shit back then. And, I can see people, releasing their frustrations on someone who worked with the Japanese during that time. That makes sense. That feels logical, I'm not saying it's right, because I know a lot of you guys are like anti-violence. I'm not anti-violence. I feel like, that makes sense. If I were under the same exact pressure, I probably would do the same thing. But I'm just saying it makes sense. Okay. All right, so they drew out the president, Marcos' daddy. They done drawn this motherfucker through the street and shit, hung him up on a tree. That's that's this guy's, background. Okay. So, years earlier, Mariano had lost an election for a seat in the Philippine House of Representatives. His opponent, Julio Nalundasan, I feel like that's how you say that name. If anybody speaks Filipino, please correct me. So Julio was found dead in his home from a gunshot wound the following day. The young Marcos, his father, and his two uncles were accused of conspiring to commit murder. And both the young Ferdinand and one of his uncles were given the death sentence, though this was later overturned. Marcos fought in World War II until being taken prisoner by the Japanese and then being released under mysterious circumstances. Evidence gathered by the Washington Post later revealed that Marcos's release was likely the result of his father's collaboration with the Japanese. Following his release, Marcos claimed that he had been heavily decorated for his bravery during the war, though these claims were also found to be largely false. That makes sense. You bunch of numbers says the rapper Bamboo has a song about this and a few other historically accurate songs. That's what's up, yo. If you can, drop some of the names of those songs. I would love to check them out. Yeah, that would be dope. Yeah, whatever those songs are named. Yeah, let's listen to them. And if I can, I'll post them on Patreon so that we can all have that experience, So yeah, Marco's daddy was working with the Japanese. Imelda Marcos, I don't know. Probably. Famous people are always motherfucking connected to other famous people. Okay, continuing on. Oh my God. Yes. Coco called it. I just looked ahead a little bit. Yes, that is the same Ferdinand that we are talking about right now. Yeah, yep, that's the same one. That's what's up. All right, yeah. So, evidence gathered by the Washington Post later revealed... Oh, yeah, we did all that, right? Yeah, and then the motherfucker was saying that he's decorated in the military, but that bitch be lying. Stolen valor shit, which is what a lot of them do. All right. But the greatest controversies to mire the Marcos name came when he entered office. The Marcos administration was dogged with accusations of corruption, and Marcos's wife, Imelda, became a byword for venality and extravagance. Both became close friends of President Ronald Reagan, and the U.S. was able to exert extraordinary influence over the Marcos government. Under pressure from President Johnson and reversing an earlier position, Marcos agreed to send Filipino troops to support the doomed U.S. war effort in Vietnam. That's the kind of connection that we're seeing here. That's wild. That's wild. Like, hey, we kind of own you, so can you guys send some people over there to get killed? Appreciate it. Good looking out, guys. You know, that's fucking... Yeah. She's known for her shoe collection, you guys. Yeah. Oh, and for those of you interested in the Bamboo song, it's called P.I. State of Mind 2. So go ahead and check that shit out. You know, if you're in the chat in YouTube, go ahead and like type that in so people can like search it at some point in time. But yeah, P.I. State of Mind 2. Okay, continuing on. As discontent with the regime mounted, Marcos's defense secretary faked a threat on his own life to engineer a transition toward authoritarian rule. He claimed that communists had tried to kill him, leaving Marcos with no choice other than to suspend the democratic process, much to Washington's delight. Thousands of people, mainly communists, were killed in the transition, their bodies dumped in public places, quote, in order to terrorize Marcos's enemies. As well as using Marcos as its puppet, the U.S. exercised its power over the Philippines via the world's latest international financial institutions, like the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund. Robert McNamara, the Ford whiz kid and former Secretary of Defense we met in Chapter 2, became head of the World Bank in 1968. In this role, McNamara was certainly involved in sustaining a flow of aid to Marcos's brutal authoritarian regime, with the aim of securing investment opportunities for international capital. Much of this quote-unquote aid ended up in the pockets of Ferdinand and Imelda Marcos. Wild fucking work. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and poor comrades, you know. We also see this a lot when it comes to like, you know, anti-left rhetoric and all this other shit. The leftists tend to get blamed for a lot of things, you know, communists specifically. Let's not water that down. Communists and socialists specifically usually bear the brunt of, you know, everybody trying to make a better life under this shitty ass system, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, I gotta let TikTok know. Boom. All right. So, right quick, you know, I've been reading for about like 30 minutes. Oh, no, you're fine. Tears and Rain, the Patreon name is Where It Counts. It's the same as the YouTube channel. And you can get to the Patreon via my YouTube channel. And you can get to the YouTube channel via the TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Hell yeah. Yeah, so come on through, fam. Come on through. Yeah, and you guys are also going to have something very special. Okay, so like right quick, I've been reading for a little bit. I'm a little bit parched. What do you call it? Just a wee bit parched, you know? And I need to get a stand for this phone because I can't be doing this all day. Hi guys. How are you? How are you, TikTok? How you guys feeling? Are you enjoying me reading to you such far? You know what I'm saying? Are you liking the reading? Hey, how are you, Laspo? Hey. Hi. Don't worry, YouTube. I'm coming to get you next. Hi, guys. So, yeah, what I'm thinking is we're going to take a little bit like a 5-minute break, something like that. You know what I'm saying? Maybe more than 5 minutes. Maybe more than 5 minutes. Nice. Welcome, Banana. I'm glad that you're enjoying it. I do. We do readings every Saturday, 3 p.m. Okay? Yeah. So, yeah, I'm going to get a stand. I'm going to get something to drink. I'm going to smoke a little bit. And then we're going to hop back into this, okay? We're going to hop back into this. Eastern Standard Time, yes. So 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Saturday. That's what we're going to do. So, yeah, okay, you guys. Yeah. Yeah. Really, I just want to make sure you guys are, like, situated. I never want to drop you. You know, I'd much rather sit you down safely. So, I'm going to go get all that stuff. And then, we're going to drop into it. Yeah. We'll do like a 5-minute break. So yeah, give me 5 minutes. I'll be back here at 16:18. Damn. In American, that is 4:18. At 4:18, we will hop back into this. Okay. So I'm going to get me a drink and get the stand and all that good stuff. All right. Let's see. Boop. Boop. I'll be right back. Ooh. All right. Nice. Everybody get their refreshments? We all good to go and shit? Great. And now, come here, YouTube. Come here. I need you close. I need you closer. You guys are so far away from me, and I don't like that. I don't like you guys being away from me. That's terrible. I need you right here. So, welcome back. Welcome back, you guys. All right. Good to go. I know, right? Hi, my babies. Okay. Everybody got their refreshments? I hope so. Aye. Nice. Now I can, like, really. Ooh, come on, you guys get closer, too. You guys are too far away. Come here. Come over here. Come in. There it is. Nice. That's what I'm talking about. Boop. Oh, Banana says they had a coworker who fought the Marcos regime. And apparently, she is the cutest little old grandma telling, oh, yeah. Hell yeah. I love that. That's what's up. Sometimes, look, we miss out on a lot of recipes when we don't talk to our elders. A lot of times our elders have done some bomb-ass fucking shit, yo. A lot of times our elders are like, you know what? If I were young, I would be, yeah. It'd be a good time. And Black Pearl. Yeah, there's a latency problem, and this is like as quickly as I can get it to respond. Oh my God. Let's take this off. All right. Hell yeah. She met her husband. So the, Molotov granny was fighting the Marcos, met her husband in the barricades while protesting. That's romantic. That's a rom-com waiting to happen. Yeah. Welcome. Oh, yeah. Welcome, Happy Ball. Yeah, I do sound way better. Exponentially. You guys on TikTok, you just don't know how much better this sounds on YouTube. The only thing that sucks is that, like, there's a delay. But we're good. It's whatever. Okay, so if everybody has their refreshments and good shit, we're going to hop back into this. We left off with the CIA ruling with an iron fist in the Philippines and, manipulating elections, murdering opposition, and essentially allowing for a very dictatorial regime called the Marcos regime to take over, right? That was the ambulance. So yeah, they were taking over everything, and the interconnectedness between the United States and the Philippines was so deep that the United States had the Philippines send Filipino troops to go die in Vietnam for it. Fucked up shit, yo. Mikey Kendall told an amazing story on Blue Sky the other day about an old woman confessing to murdering her husband to her on a bus yeah, the elders be doing some shit, yo. The elders be doing some shit. Okay, so let's dive into what the fuck the Marcos family did. Apparently they got a shit ton of money via U.S. aid. Which, by the way, I feel like this, side note, them getting rid of the U.S. aid department or whatever, I feel like is a major mistake as far as like soft power when it comes to, the United States. Because most of that U.S. aid goes to the oligarchs that the United States has been propping up in various different countries, like the Marcos, for example. So when you cut off their funds, that gives them less incentive to be as malleable towards the United States. It's a terrible thing to do if you want to be an empire. You know what I'm saying? Terrible fucking thing. But, it is what it is. It is what it is. All right, so let's continue on. Walden Bello, the Filipino activist and academic who was part of the resistance to the Marcos regime, was instrumental in proving that the U.S. government and the World Bank were working together in the Philippines. Bello, a member of the Communist Party of the Philippines, was arrested for protesting Marcos's regime in 1970s and was released only after a hunger strike. He and fellow researchers later broke into the World Bank headquarters to steal thousands of pages of documents relating to the lending program to the Philippines, proving beyond doubt the collaboration between the World Bank and the United States. I feel like somebody on the inside had to have helped them with that too. You know what I'm saying? To be able to break into that kind of a building, find exactly what you're looking for, and get the fuck out. Somebody on the inside wanted to help them out. You know what I'm saying? For sure. When Bello ran for vice president under Leody de Guzman in 2022, okay, so this is like recent, okay? In 2022, the pair were defeated by none other than Marcos's son. The U.S. colonization of the Philippines was brutal, but it did not end with formal independence. The Philippines has existed in a state of what Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's independence leader, referred to as neocolonialism, a condition in which a state is, in theory, independent and has all the outward trappings of international sovereignty. But in reality, its economic system, and thus its political policy, is directed from the outside. Interestingly enough, South Korea, very much in a similar situation when it comes to the United States. And to a lesser extent, Japan as well. Like, most people don't know this, but Japan's constitution, its current constitution, was written by the United States. And in South Korea, if South Korea falls into any type of war, essentially a U.S. general takes over the country, right? So we are very much up in that ass when it comes to the Pacific. Yeah, we're very much up in that ass. So this is not just, the Philippines, and this is not just like a one-off thing. This is the bread and butter of the United States and really how the meat gets made in our country. You know what I'm saying? All right, continuing on. This was a familiar situation for many newly independent nations. The president of Gabon observed that Gabon, I'm saying it in different ways just to see how it feels, is independent, but between Gabon and France, nothing has changed. Everything goes on as before. This observation was validated when it came to light that French politician Jacques Foucault kept letters requesting military intervention pre-signed by various African presidents in his desk drawer. Nkrumah was an intellectual and political giant who led Ghana to independence in 1957, making it the first country to receive independence from Britain in sub-Saharan Africa. A socialist and a nationalist, he spent much of his life seeking to promote unity among third world countries, as he believed that only by working together could nearly independent nations resist the influence of their former colonizers. Unfortunately, the dream of unity proved fleeting. As we will see throughout this chapter, independence did not bring prosperity for most poor states, given the ongoing neocolonial influence of the rich world, which sought to subvert cooperation between third world countries at every turn. Which, if you guys notice, this is very much, hey, Trini's here! Hey, everybody, Trini is the tried and true. Trini's made it. Look, I want y'all to know that when you guys become regulars in this bitch, we get fucking excited. You know what I'm saying? We really love spending time with each other. We really do love spending time with each other. It's kind of crazy. It's nice. All right. Welcome, Trini. You didn't miss much, fam. You didn't miss much. But yeah, I don't know if you guys kind of noticed this, but this is kind of like a macro strategy. I think the micro is every time a corporation or the government stops us from trying to unionize, and like have collective bargaining or some shit. They don't want the people they're fucking over to work together, because when we start working together, then all of a sudden we start realizing like, oh, my butthole hurts just as much as your butthole hurts. Who is doing this to us? Oh, it's them? Let's get them. They don't want us to do that. That's why Luigi is where the fuck he is. That's why Luigi is where the fuck he is. Anyways, continuing on. Our poor holes. My shit's sore. It's terrible. So yeah, unfortunately, the dream of uniting proved fleeting. As we will see throughout this chapter, independence did not bring prosperity for most poor states, given the ongoing neo-colonial influence of the rich world, which sought to subvert cooperation between third world countries at every turn. For decades, the development of the Philippines was hampered by collusion between the United States, international institutions, domestic capitalists, and a corrupt political class, which together deprived Filipinos of basic human rights to ensure the country would remain a haven for international capital. Bello himself has referred to the situation faced by Philippines after independence as neo-colonial. Right? So this is what people are facing when it comes to dealing with the United States. Oh my God. Sorry. I just had to like move this so it's like closer to my face. I feel like I'm like, holding a penis right here. It's awkward. So it's not that type of live. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so they've been fucking everybody over, Hey, Trinity's on the fucking TikTokies. Fuck yeah. All right, yeah. So, we usually think of empires as violent undertaking. As Frantz Fanon observed in the 1960s, the process of conquering and governing a colony is, by definition, violent. Yeah, it is faster over here. Sorry for the delay, you guys. But in the context of global capitalism, empire has a more expansive meaning. It'd be slick. You could watch me here, I guess, and kind of listen to me on YouTube because the audio is better. It's one or the other. Either you're going to get a faster, faster video, but the audio quality is not going to be that great, or you're going to get very great audio quality and not, faster video. It's one of the two. Pick your poison, Choose your own adventure type shit. All right, continuing on. It's always, it is always that type of live. Beautiful. All right. I digress. Okay, so, yeah. Empires are, by definition, violent undertakings. Hey, it's Butter! You guys, Butter hasn't been here in a minute. What's up, Butter? Hey, fam. We're just reading. That's what we're doing. We're reading Vulture Capitalism. All right. Butter's in the house. Fuck yeah. You've been missed, fam. You've been missed. But in the context of global capitalism, empire has a more expansive meaning. Capitalist empires are not simply the states capable of winning the most wars. They are the command centers for the capitalist world system. Their corporations are the largest and most powerful multinationals, extracting profits from all corners of the globe and sucking them back to the imperial core. Their financial institutions are some of the most important nodes in the networks of global finance. The priorities of their governments are forcefully communicated to and sometimes enforced upon less powerful states. In fact, at the global level, it is much easier to see the equivalence between economic and political power than it is domestically. The power of the U.S. businesses abroad is maintained through an international order that prioritizes the interests of U.S. capital, promulgated by the U.S. government and its allies. Hell yeah, Butter is also going to be reading on live at some point, Deviant by Ellie Sanders. So if you're into that kind of ting, go ahead and check the guy out. You know what I'm saying? Check out fam. All right, so yeah, they're doing some wild, weird shit up in here. In fact, at the global level, it is much easier to see the equivalence between economic and political power than it is domestically. The power of U.S. businesses abroad is maintained through an international order that prioritizes the interests of U.S. capital promulgated by the U.S. government and its allies. The power of U.S. finance rests on the central role played by the dollar as the global reserve currency, which is itself a function of American military, political, and economic might. American military power, meanwhile, stems from and helps to reinforce the power of a web of military contractors, weapons manufacturers, and research hubs that provide the expertise and equipment needed to maintain its supremacy. Which is why Donald Trump is so dangerous, even when it comes to maintaining the United States as an empire or imperialistic project. You know, because he's really eroding all of the main things that the United States needs to maintain its hegemony, which is why a lot of this shit is inevitable. Like, we're shifting into a multipolar world, and you know, I had a hard time believing that Donald Trump was like in the back pocket of Russia until I really looked at the bigger picture and saw like, oh, everything that you're doing really is lessening soft power strength with the United States. And to be honest, it is going to be through soft power that the United States loses its control over the globe, right? They're going, and like, it's not just Donald Trump. To be honest, just to be real, Biden also did a lot of work, you know, delegitimizing the United States in a lot of soft powered areas, like the ICJ and ICC. You know what I'm saying? So this eroding is just being like put in warp drive. And that essentially is going to weaken the United States, where it's no longer a hegemonic power. And we're going to have a multipolar world in our hands, probably within the next like 10 years. If everything keeps going at the pace that it's going, you know, the shit is crazy. The shit is fucking wild, you know? I think it's been in motion for at least a decade. Yeah, it has been in motion at least a decade. For sure. They've been putting in work to delegitimize the strength of the United States. Anyways, that's going to suck for, you know, for us as like residents within the imperial core, but it'll be to the benefit of literally everybody else outside of this motherfucker, you know? So I you know, we had a good run. All right, so yeah, continuing on. American military power, meanwhile, stems from and helps to reinforce the power of a web of military contractors, weapon manufacturers, and research hubs that provide the expertise and equipment needed to maintain its supremacy. In certain parts of the world, as in Iraq after its invasion, the U.S. government has ruled through private corporations like Halliburton. Remember that? You know how everybody's bitching and moaning about Elon Musk making money off of being connected to the government? You remember when the fucking corrupt bastards were so clever that they managed to become vice president in order to do that, and named Dick Cheney specifically, and then made sure that his fucking corporation, which we talked about in this book before, he made sure that his corporation benefited the most from him becoming vice. Like, he quite literally stopped being the CEO of Halliburton and started being the vice president. Like, that's how close that shit was. Elon Musk is just too stupid to figure out how to be fucking vice president. So, you know, he had to like make a like makeshift fucked up way to pull a Cheney. All right, like, make no mistake, Elon Musk is just a very shitty rendition of Dick Cheney, which should concern you, because we just had our Democratic Party try to cleanse the reputation of Dick Cheney for the entire Obama and Biden administration, and then tried to put his daughter on. You know what I'm saying? So eventually, the Democrats are probably going to like whitewash Elon Musk and all the shit that he's doing right here. So I hope you guys remember every single bit of this. Don't ever forget any of what Elon Musk has done. A lot of people have forgotten what Dick Cheney has done. Don't forget Elon Musk, because these motherfuckers are going to make him seem way cooler than what the fuck he was. All right? Let's keep that in mind. These motherfuckers are liars. Hey, Papa, go sit on the couch. Thank you. Okay, continuing on. Empire is, then, about more than formal colonization. It refers to all the processes through which the world's most powerful capitalist institutions plan who gets what at the level of the world economy. Throughout history, this imperial power has often been exercised through horrendous acts of violence that have warped the development of entire societies for decades. For decades. Yes, Marcella's here. I don't know if you guys want to see this little fuck face. Everybody say hi to your nephew. He's fine. Yeah. Oh no, he's fine. Say hi to your nephew, guys. Oh yeah. It's a lot of nerd shit back here, fam. So that arcane thing is like a new addition to a lot of fuck shit that I've been doing. So yeah. Continuing on. Throughout history, this imperial power has often been exercised through horrendous acts of violence that have warped the development of entire societies for decades. But today, it is often exerted in far more covert ways, such as through the secretive system of international courts or international financial institutions imposing rigid conditions on countries trying to access emergency lending. Okay? He is, thank you. Yeah, but like that's an interesting thing. Like this is why the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank exist. This is why they exist. It's to exert soft financial power against the global south. The global south being countries that pretty much have all of the resources and natural, minerals and everything that everybody else gets to live off of, right? But America's adoption of the responsibilities of empire was not uncontested. Debates and struggles that took place within state institutions of the kind outlined in the previous chapter led to the US adopting the role of guardian of global capital. As they dealt with the problems and challenges at the global level, key actors within the US state came to see American interests as defined, quote, in terms of the extension and defense of global capitalism. Ultimately, the U.S. state took it upon itself to ensure that no part of the world could close its doors to international investment. This desire to keep the world, quote unquote, open. This desire to keep the world, quote unquote, open to capitalism rather than overaccumulation or a struggle for resources is what explains so many of America's imperial escapades in recent decades. Right? So essentially the United States, like this book is positing that the United States has been doing all this weird shit to maintain its foothold in global capitalism more so than anything else, right? It does not give a fuck about anything else. To include the people that, are the grease to this machine, which is us. We are the people that are greasing this machine for the capitalists at the top of our society. This chapter will analyze the different ways in which empire has been conceptualized throughout the history of capitalism and the way in which imperial power is expressed today. We'll also look at the contradictory ways in which liberals have conceived of empire and development before showing that the global economy is structured in such a way as to maintain the imperial power of the rich countries at the expense of poor ones. we'll also look at how this international system was designed, quite consciously, to limit democratic influence over economic policy and to neutralize any threats to the power of international capital. So that's what we're going to be diving into with this book. I don't know why this is like doing this. All right. Well, I can't like fuck with it too much or it's going to drive me crazy. All right. Oh. Well, that's weird. I feel like that just makes that worse. All right, fuck it. Yeah. Everything is weird. Nothing is normal. Okay, anyway, sorry, I got distracted. My bad. I got distracted. Okay. Here we go. Let's dive into how this is happening. Pacifying the natives. Walter Bagot, a 19th century liberal theorist and former editor of The Economist, once wrote that, quote, "The British are preeminently a colonizing people. We are, beyond all comparison, the most enterprising, the most successful, and in most respects, the best colonists on the face of the earth." Yeah. That's what this motherfucker just said. Okay. So, occasionally, consolidating the United Kingdom's great imperial power required the allegedly benevolent British to use force against the natives. Bagot, I don't care if I'm saying that motherfucker's name wrong, by the way. Bagot, though he remained an ardent liberal, it's a liberal, mind you, though he remained an ardent liberal, believed that it was appropriate for the British state to use force against these quote-unquote backward people wherever they stood in the way of the civilizing influence of the British Empire. Whether in sub-Saharan Africa, Australia, or Ireland, liberals have always claimed to oppose imperialism and to champion freedom. Especially free trade. The close links between imperialism and liberalism have therefore been written out of its intellectual history. But liberals, like Bagot, found it quite easy to support both free trade and imperialism, and often quite brutal imperialism at that. Coco says liberal in a global sense is kind of different from liberal in a USian sense, though still not exactly the good guys. They like to think they are, though. Yeah, they do. I would think that, liberals in the United States, though they have some differences from like the idea of, big, like lowercase liberal. If we notice their actions, like liberal in a global sense is their guiding compass, and the USian perspective of liberals is how they go about executing that guiding compass. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? That's what that is, in my opinion. Hey, boo. Okay. So, continuing on. In the 18th century, liberal advocates of free trade were writing in opposition to mercantilists. who believed that national prosperity was best protected by maximizing exports and minimizing imports, right? So they want to push out as much shit for people to buy without buying a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. To the mercantilists, trade was a zero-sum game, and the balance of payments was the scorecard. Those states with the largest current account surpluses were winning, while those with deficits were losing. Building up empires within which trade was zealously guarded was seen as the best way to, quote unquote, beat other nations economically, as well as to promote national security. Bam. That's the book. Liberals, on the other hand, argued that the whole world would be better off under free trade. One of the greatest liberal political economists was David Ricardo, who wrote his magnum opus on the principles of political economy. Hold on a second. I'm a wee bit flustered. Okay, I should be good right now. All right. So, David Ricardo, who wrote his magnum opus on the principles of political economy and taxation in 1817. Ricardo was both a theorist and a practitioner of capitalism. He made his fortune in the city of London by speculating on events like the Battle of Waterloo. He used his wealth to support his career as a politician and a leading liberal intellectual, voting for measures to promote free trade wherever he had the chance. With his theory of comparative advantage, Ricardo sought to prove that free trade would always benefit both participants in the exchange, rather than only the seller. What are you doing, Papa? Huh? What you doing? You bored? Hold on. I gotta take care of your nephew. What are you, bored? Huh? Come in. Come on. Come here. Oh my God. You're doing all kinds of weird shit. Hey. Come here, Papa. Come here, my boy. There you go. Come on, Papa. I know. Okay. Everybody say hi. Thank you, Papa. Thank you. Okay. Yes. All right. Much needed puppy break. Yes. Look at this guy. Look at the big ham. Yeah? You good? Thank you. And you're yawning in my face. Okay. All right. I love you. All right. Now get on out of here. He is a very sweet baby. Very, very sweet. All right. Go sit down, please. And that concludes today's puppy hour. That concludes today's puppy hour. Oh, this is a black ass man, Banana. He is very he's black. He black as fuck. Yeah. He not a fan of that capitalism shit. This is a freedom fighter right here, Not to go on a tangent or anything, you guys, but like when I take his ass to puppy daycare and shit, especially now that it's winter, people be putting clothes in their dogs and shit. This nigga is like, we don't need that white man's clothing. He's quick to rip the clothes off of other animals. He's quick to rip the clothes off of me as well. Yeah, he does get his politics from his daddy. Yeah, he's quick to, like, he's very much like, we all need to be bucket naked. Like, stat. He does not believe in clothing. So he's a little exhibitionist, this man. He also, strangely enough, rubs his dick on everything. Very weird. But, you know, I feel like he just likes having things to rub his pee-pee on. That's why he does that. But, you know, I'm not going to kink shame the man. I'm not going to kink shame the man. Yeah. He does sound like his daddy. You know, I believe in being naked. A lot of fun things happen when your butt booty ass naked. You know what I'm saying? And I'm black. I'm supposed to be butt naked under a coconut tree. I'm trying to get as close to that as possible. Do you understand me? Do you understand me? All right. I digress. Okay. So, yeah. Ricardo. Honestly true. So, Ricardo was both a theorist and practitioner of capitalism. He made his fortune in the city of London by speculating on events like the Battle of Waterloo. He used his wealth to support his career as a politician and a leading liberal intellectual, voting for measures to promote free trade wherever he had the chance. With his theory of comparative advantage, Ricardo sought to prove that free trade would always benefit both participants in the exchange, rather than only the seller. He argued that it was always more efficient for countries to specialize in producing the things they were best at, rather than trying to meet all their consumption needs through domestic production. Such specialization would boost productivity all around, and higher productivity would mean that when they can trade with each other, all countries were able to consume more than they would have if they had worked alone. Seems pretty straightforward. Seems like it makes sense. When applied to the world economy, the argument has a clear implication. The whole world would be better off if each country produced the commodities for which it had a comparative advantage and traded with other states doing the same. It wouldn't matter if one country was more productive than all the others. That country, indeed, every country, would still benefit from greater levels of specialization than would be possible under autarky, a situation in which each country produces and consumes all the commodities it needs itself. Of course, such outcomes are possible only under free trade. If states impose tariffs, quotas, or other non-tariff barriers to trade, then the cost of trade may increase to such an extent that they outweigh the benefits of specialization. Just something we should keep in mind, considering that, you know, Donald Trump is starting a trade war. Well, he didn't start it. He's exacerbating it. Like that. Have you noticed that Donald Trump don't really be starting nothing? All the things that he wants to do is some shit that it has already been in motion that he's just like failing upwards through. You know, because he don't even know how to do Project 2025 right, to be honest. I feel like his execution of this shit is fucking terrible. Like, if I were the person who backed that shit, I'd have been pissed. All this work that I done put in fucking some 50 odd years, you know, Project 2025 alone with the Heritage Foundation, and then plus all the bullshit that the Quiverful motherfuckers have been doing, and the Federalist Paper motherfuckers, they've been working their asses off to do this shit, to have a Christian nationalist nation, and here comes this pale orange motherfucker getting bankrolled by a goddamn South African fuck who is siphoning everything off before they can even benefit. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's fucking wild. I would be upset. You know what I'm saying? I would be mad. If I were those conservatives, I would be like, we need to do something about the Musk problem. It's awfully musky in here, and we need to do something about that, because ain't no fucking way we done put all of this energy into this shit, and the country this South African fuck is going to leave us will be disgusting. I'm just saying, like, if I were in their shoes, I would be upset. If I were in their shoes, I would not be happy with Elon Musk. I wouldn't. I don't think they are, to be honest. I feel like they're on the type of time that I'm talking about. I feel like they very much are on the type of time that I'm talking about. But yeah. Yeah. He fucking it up. He fucking up the rotation and shit. Nobody likes that. Yeah. Yeah. It's not working. Yeah, yeah, even without Musk. But I think like they would be in better control of Donald Trump. Like without Musk, they would have better control with him. And I feel like without Musk, they would be able to execute their plans a little bit more methodically. You know what I'm saying? Like they would have learned from their mistakes of like pushing so many of these executive orders so quickly, and they would have slowed down. Like after the first two times where people were like, "What the fuck?" They'd be like, "Oh, my bad. My bad." And they were like, they probably would have shifted from it being a first 100 days plan to like maybe the first year. Let's stretch this out, because the shock and awe shit, that's a bump and grab. Essentially, what they're doing to us as like U.S. citizens is a bump and grab. They're bumping the fuck out of us through all of the mayhem and shit, and then just like siphoning money out of our pockets. But the only thing is that they have clumsy hands, so we can feel them in our pockets. And now it's like, are we gonna punch these motherfuckers in the face or what? You know what I'm saying? Are we gonna slap these bitches or what? Okay. All right, let's read for about 30 more minutes, and I'm gonna let you guys go and have a great afternoon, okay? Awesome. Let's keep it going. When applied to the world economy, the argument has a clear implication. The whole world would be much better off if each country produced the commodities for which it had a comparative advantage and traded with other states doing the same. It wouldn't matter if one country was more productive than the others. The country, indeed every country, would still benefit from greater levels of specialization than would be possible under autarky, a situation in which each country produces and consumes all the commodities it needs itself. Of course, such outcomes are possible only under free trade. If states impose tariffs, quotas, or other non-tariff barriers to trade, then the cost of trade may increase to such an extent that they outweigh the benefits of specialization. Ricardo's theory of comparative advantage was a weapon in the long-running battle between liberal free traders and mercantilists. A battle the free traders ultimately won. This victory was not, however, based on the superiority of the idea of liberal ideas. As Ha-Jung Shang has pointed out, early capitalist states provided immense amounts of support to infant industry, including but not limited to the use of tariffs and quotas. As these industries developed under the careful tutelage of the state, trade barriers were steadily reduced so as to allow powerful new firms to enter world markets and compete at the level of the global economy. While trade barriers may have fallen, the state continued to provide many other forms of support and protection for domestic industry. Yet, newly independent states were told they would have to adhere to free trade policies if they wanted to, quote unquote, catch up with the rest of the world, which is one of the reasons why Africa as a continent is always at the lowest of the low in all indice measures when it comes to like measuring the success growth of countries. These countries were fed the lie that Britain and America had grown rich through free trade, and that if they only opened up their markets to international competition, they would too. Instead, these states found their national economies were dominated by corporations that had been protected by imperialist nations now preaching the benefits of the free market. This was the quote unquote imperialism of free trade. Right? So just like how mercantilism and monarchy had their version of imperialism, now we are under a free trade imperialism. One of the most ardent champion of this view of international development was Walt Rostow, who published his Stages of Economic Growth in 1960. What are you guys saying? Ross says, you don't think Heritage Foundation wanted shock doctrine to get their stuff moving in a way that's hard to fight against? Oh, y'all are having a conversation. My bad. Let me mind my business. I'm gonna mind my business. Okay, so Rostow was born into a family of Russian Jewish socialists before becoming one of the most ardent anti-communists in the U.S. government. He took up a strategic role in the military during World War II, selecting targets for bombardment to inflict maximum pain on the Germans, and later joined a government department seeking to deploy political and psychological warfare against the USSR. Talk about rebelling against your parents. God damn, my guy. Why you gotta make your mommy and daddy issues our problem? Fuck Rostow. Rostow was ultimately invited to serve in the administration of John F. Kennedy, probably one of the most beloved Democrats in the country. Wild. He was invited where he campaigned for various ruthless U.S. invasions. He believed that the U.S. could bomb Vietnam into submission, a strategy that led to the deaths of thousands of civilians. The States of Economic Growth proposed a linear and teleological model of capitalist development. How the fuck can I say that word? I said that word fine. I've been fucking up words that I don't think I should have been fucking up. That's wild. Anyway, so like, yeah, this motherfucker proposed a linear and teleological model of capitalist development in which societies progressed through several stages, from the traditional phase, characterized by subsistence, you see what I'm saying? Subsistence agriculture and little technological development, through the quote-unquote takeoff stage, in which industrialization, urbanization, and capital accumulation all increase, to the age of mass consumption, associated with high incomes and consumption, and a growing service sector, which is, I think, where we are right now. So, like, the bubble got to pop eventually. Goddamn. The idea was that development everywhere would look exactly as it had in industrializing Britain. According to the infamous Sachs-Warner hypothesis, countries open to international trade achieve higher long-term growth rates than those closed to trade. Sachs and Warner purported to show that, quote, open economies grew 2.45 percentage points faster than closed ones over the long run. But the categories of analysis used in this paper were problematic at best. While more historically grounded approaches have unambiguously shown the central role played by the state throughout the history of capitalist development, contrary to the predictions of those who argue that free trade would allow poor countries to catch up with rich ones, the structure of the world economy has remained relatively stable over the last several hundred years. There are a small number of wealthy and powerful economies that dominate the world, a large number of very poor countries that have little power, and the rest lie somewhere in between. It is true that some countries have been able to move up the hierarchy by industrializing, but in the same way as Britain and America, but in the same way as Britain and America, they have done so by protecting their economies before trying to practice free trade. So it's, you got to protect your economy first and then jump into the free trade shit. So why hasn't free trade benefited the poor world as much as its advocates believed it would? One of the first answers to this question comes from, you guessed it, Karl Marx. Hey, bam, 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 bam. We got Marx in the house. Marx saw that the inequalities that existed between countries and regions under capitalism reflected the timing of industrialization in each. Some had been able to industrialize early and dominate surrounding areas, preventing those areas from catching up and leaving them trapped, exporting agricultural commodities to industrialized areas. As we have seen, the state played a central role in developing in these places, not only implementing policies to support infant industries, but also, as Marx noted, enclosing common land to create a poor and desperate workforce that could be forced down mines and into dark satanic mills. I feel like that's an accurate description of West Virginia and coal towns, minor towns. From their emergence in individual nations, these inequalities eventually became visible at the level of the world economy. As Marxist theorist Nikolai Bukharin writes, quote, entire countries appear today as towns, namely the industrial countries, whereas entire agrarian territories appear to be country. Economic theory suggests that these differences will eventually even out because capitalists in rich countries will invest in poor ones as investment opportunities in their home markets dry up. You know what's funny about this? This is essentially how China is growing as an international power. They are, it's kind of wild that it took a whole socialist party and just so centralized planning to make that happen. But essentially what China is doing is holding up the textbook version of capitalism. You know what I'm saying? They are growing and then they're using that growth to invest. Like that's basically what the Belt and Road Initiative is. So it's kind of wild. It's not really that wild. It makes sense that a socialist or a communist party would do capitalism better than a capitalist country in any other capitalist country, right? I think that's going to be to their detriment. I think that the control of China in the multipolar world is going to like wane a lot quicker than, what the United States was able to maintain, but it's happening nonetheless. I hope that made sense. Anyways, continuing on. This investment would be channeled into businesses in the global south, allowing them to grow and ultimately challenge the dominance of established businesses in the global north. But mainstream theory didn't account for the growth of powerful monopolies that would be able to dominate their home markets and eventually large parts of the world market. These multinational corporations easily outcompete smaller ones operating in the global south, using their power over the market to price gouge their suppliers, forcing these smaller firms to cut costs by reducing wages and worsening working conditions. And they often also ally with powerful financial institutions to buy up any competitors that do not emerge or that do emerge in order to consolidate their hold over the world market. We can see an example of this in Haiti, for instance. Like in Haiti, the Clinton administration bulldozed into the country, pretty much forced the country to take in U.S. made rice, right? Even though one of the commodities that Haiti is very good at producing is rice. So, under, the comparative advantage, Haiti should be the one exporting rice and selling rice predominantly to its people. That's not what the United States allowed for. They kicked in the door and prevented Haitian rice farmers from being able to compete within Haiti. So now most of the rice, it's like something like 80-90% of rice in Haiti comes from U.S. rice farmers instead. So that's like a very good example of what this book is talking about. So yeah, they'd be worsening in economic conditions and all that fucked up shit. And they often also allow or ally with powerful financial institutions to buy up any competitors that do emerge in order to consolidate their hold over the world market. Moreover, companies headquartered in the rich world can offshore production to poor countries, taking advantage of low labor costs and reshoring the profits to their home nation. Capitalist states make sure these inequalities persist by preventing people from moving around to find better paying jobs. This is why we have a restriction